Hi, I'm Susan. Today I'm going to make my journal for the Junk Journal July, hosted by Meg's Journals and Get Messy Art. So I'm going to use this cake mix box. I've already got my signatures, and I think this time I'm going to do one with an elastic band. That way I can move around, change, pull out, and know what I need and can add to it if I have to. So I've never made one like that, so we'll see how that goes. I've got some elastic. It's thin elastic. I may double it up, but we'll see. I have this leather binding. I would love to use it, but I just don't know, it not being stretchable, whether that would be good or not. But I may just see what I want to do with that. So I hope you'll enjoy this video. I've got this upholstery sampler book, and so I want to just cover it with different fabrics and just have fun with it. So I hope you'll enjoy this video, and I hope you're having a great day. So without further ado, let's get started. How are y'all doing? I begin by cutting down this cake mix box to the right size for my journal. I start going through this fabric book to see what fabrics I want to use. One's not big enough to cover the whole journal, so I decided to do like a patchwork. And I just try to find coordinating patterns to go with the main one here that I like the most. They all have this paper stuck to the back, and I just use my heat gun and heat it up and pull it off, and I get most of it off. What little bit's left isn't that bad. I cut with picking shears those edges that I had just use regular scissors on, and I'm just cutting it down to manageable pieces for my patchwork. I start arranging my fabric pieces on my cover to see where I want to put them. Then I decide that I really want batting underneath it to give it more cushion so it's just not against that cardboard box. So I end up pulling out my batting. And I just cut a piece out the size of my cover. I glue the batting down onto the cover with Fabri-Tac, and I just smooth it out with one of those silicone makeup brushes. And I just trim off around the edges so that it's not hanging over. Once I get that done, I rearrange my pieces back onto the top of the batting and tack it down with Fabri-Tac so that I can sew it. I'd leave an overhang so that I can flip it onto the other side so it will look neat. I see a few gaps in some of my places where they meet, and I just cut off little pieces to kind of cover those parts up, and it just becomes part of the pattern. Here I just flipped it over, and I'm just kind of mitering the corners a little bit so that I won't have so much excess fabric, and then I just glue it down. And the Fabri-Tac's not quite holding it, just me holding it, so I grabbed some clamps and used those to hold down the fabric. After I get all my clamps down, I set it aside to let it dry, and then I decide to work on this elastic band. Now this is really thin. It's more for beading jewelry, but it's all I had. So I just decided to double it up. So I just kind of measure out four times the length of my journal so that it's going to be doubled. And I decide that I really don't want the bright white. So I just take some distress oxides, and just dye my string. Now I thought it was going to be a little bit darker. I probably should have added like walnut stain or vintage photo, but I still like it. It looks so much darker when it's wet than when it dries, but I still think it looks better than the white, and I don't hate it. I like it, especially much better than the white, but I probably would have went with a little bit more brown. Once my cover dried, I went around it with a sewing machine. I just zigzagged all the way around the cover and around all the little squares. And I'm just cutting the strings off here and on the inside. Now I'm going to take care of the inside. And my first thought was to just go ahead and measure the length that I want my inside cover to be. And I scored where the bends are. But as I went to bend it after I scored it, it seemed like it was going to buckle up a little bit. So I opted just to go ahead and cut the spine part out. I glued down my side panels with Fabri-Tac since it's going to go against that fabric in the edges. And I have some strip of material that I got in Happy Meal, and I decided to use that where the spine part is. Now I need to punch holes at the top and bottom for my eyelets where I can add in my elastic string. And I just take my signatures because I don't want it to be too short, and just kind of give a measurement to give it an idea of where I want to put my eyelets. Now that I got my eyelets in, I just take my string and I just cut it in half, and then I just double that over and thread it through and tie it into a knot. I do both of those so I can add my signatures. Now, so my journal will stay closed, I add an eyelet on both the front and the back cover so that I can add in ribbon for closure. And now I want to decorate the front cover. And I've got this lace that also came in Happy Mail, and these pieces of scrapbook paper and embossed paper that I got in Happy Mail. And I have this Tim Holtz little frame, so I just play around with the pieces. I kind of want the blue to shine, bring out the blue in my patterns because there's a little bit of blue. And I'm practicing my writing to see if I'm just going to go ahead and write it. So I write out Junk Journal July, and I will cut that out and just kind of decorate, see how I want to decorate it. I'm liking it, but I feel like it's missing something, so I find this other little bit of lace I got in Happy Mail. And so now I'm just going to put everything down. I distress around the edges of everything because I like the blue, but it's kind of bright, so I just kind of tone it down some, and I just attach with Fabri-Tac my doily lace and my card and all of that. As I'm getting ready to put down my words, I realized they really just weren't quite dark enough for me. So I ended up getting this Posca pen. I wished I'd gotten a smaller nib, but it's okay. And I just thicken the letters out some. Once I finish with the black, I start out with a white Posca pen, the little small nib, and give it some highlights. But it was soaking into the paper. So I come back with my gel pen in white and did the highlights, and that worked pretty good. Now I'm going to add in my words. I want you to see if you guess what I did not do. I forgot my lace. It was underneath my pen. But I just kind of peeled it back off, covered the lace, and put the letters back on. Thankfully, it didn't tear the letters to where you could see it. And I just re-glued them back where they were supposed to go, and you couldn't tell the difference. Well, here it is. I love how it turned out. I just patched work these little squares all around. Where there were gaps, I just put a few more. I put some batting on underneath, and I just added in scrapbook paper on the inside. I just had a little bit of this crochet ribbon, but I think it'll be fine. And I can take out my pages, I can rearrange them and add or subtract or whatever I need to do for this collage, and that's gonna be really nice, because last time I had way too many pages, so I just kind of continued doing it. Hopefully I can stay on task this year. I got sick during the January. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Ring that bell so you can be notified when I upload new content. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Be sure and check out Meg's journals and Get Messy Art. And be sure and check out the hashtag Junk Journal July when we start in July. And think about participating. It's a lot of fun. And it's really simple. So y'all have a great, wonderful day, and until next time, bye y'all.